Wagner's army has set foot on Russian soil again. Russian leader Vladimir Putin is in big trouble. Andrei Belyakov, who emerged as the new commander of Wagner after Wagner leader Yevgeny Prigozhin lost his life, defied the Putin regime. The new Wagner leader Andrei Belyakov, who wants to turn the riots occurring within the borders of Russia into an opportunity, has entered the territory of Russia with his army. Sergei Naryshkin, the head of the Russian intelligence service, announced that they have detected that the Wagner army is trying to establish a new assassination squad within the borders of Russia. This assassination squad set up for Putin has given a big signal that the confusion in Russia will grow much bigger. Russian leader Vladimir Putin decided to hold an emergency meeting at the Kremlin Palace late at night and gathered senior officials to the palace. The news of the death of Wagner leader Yevgeny Prigozhin, who died in recent weeks, had become a major agenda topic all over the world. Many media agencies have published news reports that Vladimir Putin is behind Prigozhin's death. Prigozhin's death as a result of an unknown plane crash within the borders of Moscow caused all eyes to be turned to Putin. As it is known, the Wagner army has long fought on the territory of Ukraine together with the Russian army. However, after Prigozhin's coup attempt in Russia, Putin and Prigozhin's alliance ended. After the death of Wagner leader Prigozhin, the Wagner army began to spiral completely out of control. After the news of the death of Wagner leader Prigozhin, a name that served as a commander in the Wagner army began to be heard constantly. As it is known, after the Wagner army began to withdraw from the territory of Ukraine, it began to settle within the borders of Belarus. The Wagner commander Andrei Belyakov, who suddenly appeared, is one of the commanders who allows Wagner soldiers to continue their activities. The learning that Belyakov, the training commanders of Wagner soldiers in Belarus, is Wagner's new leader has become a big agenda topic all over the world. Belyakov, the new Wagner commander who made a statement recently, stated that the Ukrainian army is very close to establishing a great superiority over Russia, and it has become certain that Russia will lose this war. Addressing the Russian soldiers who continue to fight on the territory of Ukraine, Commander Belyakov said that Vladimir Putin is risking the lives of Russian soldiers for his own interests, and that Russian soldiers who continue to fight on the territory of Ukraine should return to Russia. As it is known, the Wagner army has become one of the largest military forces of the Russian army. Russian leader Vladimir Putin made the vast majority of the military support that the Russian army should have made to the Wagner army during the war. Putin, who provides a lot of money to the Wagner army through shell companies in Russia, is one of the most important factors that allows the Wagner army to become so strong. Putin began to arrest Wagner soldiers, along with the decision he had taken in order to break the power of Wagner soldiers in Russia. At the same time, Wagner army headquarters within the borders of Russia began to be closed by Putin's order. However, Andrei Belyakov, known as Wagner's new commander, did not remain silent on this situation any longer. Acting in revenge on Putin, Belyakov began to illegally smuggle Wagner soldiers into Russia. Thousands of Wagner soldiers managed to enter Russia illegally thanks to Belyakov and his collaborators. Wagner soldiers who wanted to continue their illegal structures in Russia began to join these formations by contacting the formations affiliated to them here. However, this situation was noticed by the head of the Russian intelligence service, Sergei Naryshkin, who noted that thousands of Wagner soldiers had returned to Russia, and that Russian security forces should act quickly to arrest these soldiers. The only reason the Wagner soldiers returned was to completely eliminate Russian leader Vladimir Putin. However, after the coup attempt in Russia by former Wagner leader Prigozhin, a huge increase in the number of Putin's bodyguards was carried out. This situation led the Wagner soldiers to make a major change in their plan. But the most interesting thing was the revelation of the agreement that the new Wagner commander, Andrei Belyakov, had made with the Ukrainian government. The commanders of the armed forces of Ukraine were aware that Andrei Belyakov, known as the new Wagner commander, was anti-Putin. The Ukrainian government, which wanted to take advantage of these disagreements between Putin and Wagner, was one of the biggest supporters of Wagner commander Belyakov. Wagner soldiers were able to secretly enter Russia's borders thanks to the connections of the Ukrainian government. Wagner's soldiers made a plan to assassinate Putin thanks to their secret structures on the borders of Russia. Wagner soldiers, who have been collecting intelligence about Putin for a long time, acquired all the information about the ways that Putin used and at what hours he did what. However, due to the increased number of Putin's bodyguards, it is almost impossible to neutralize Putin with a sniper rifle. However, Wagner commander Belyakov's plan was much different. Belyakov carried out a sabotage inside the borders of Russia in order to distract Vladimir Putin. Wagner soldiers, who caused a fire at a natural gas production facility in the city of Kaluga, which is quite close to the capital Moscow, managed to attract all the attention. But this fire was supposed to look like sabotage. For this reason, Wagner soldiers left gasoline cans and weapons that they had used while burning the facility near the facility. Due to the fact that the explosion took place in an area quite close to the capital Moscow, Russian leader Vladimir Putin was to leave his palace and be taken to a safe area. Aware of this, Wagner soldiers placed plastic explosives on the Moscow bridge, which Putin would have to use. If Vladimir Putin had crossed this bridge, the assassination plan would have worked successfully. However, some Wagner soldiers, who were tasked with organizing the assassination, realized that such a massive attack would bring its own end. Realizing that if this attack failed, they would be punished by Vladimir Putin, some Wagner soldiers did not want to carry out this attack. Thus, some Wagner soldiers, fearing assassination, reported the explosives they had placed on the bridge to the Russian security forces with an anonymous tip. With the notification of the location of the explosives, Russian special forces teams and bomb disposal experts took action and moved towards the Moscow bridge. Special forces teams have set up barricades and banned entry to the streets in order to ensure security in the area. Bomb disposal teams noticed the explosives planted by entering the bridge. Realizing that the explosives were controlled both by time setting and by remote control, the teams managed to defuse the explosives after hours of work. Thus, the assassination plan of Wagner commander Andrei Belyakov against Putin completely failed. This incident has become a big issue on the agenda all over the world, especially in Russia. Putin, who is already showing paranoid attitudes, is expected to increase security measures much more after this assassination attempt. The Wagner army, which has reappeared with its new leaders after a 2-month silence, has captured the agenda in Russia. Thousands of Russian citizens who are anti-Putin continue to support the Wagner army with their social media accounts. The Russian intelligence service, on the other hand, is making a great effort to capture Wagner soldiers who are still inside the borders of Russia.